Okay, hope you can see my screen, right? So today we will start our discussion on Apex triggers. Microphones on mute, please. Thank you. That's all. Right, Apex trigger. So first thing, let's understand what is Apex trigger. An Apex trigger is Apex code. This is also an Apex code, but this is not used with a Visual Force page. So far, we have always used Apex code with a Visual Force page. All right. This Apex trigger is not used with a Visual Force page. So where is it exactly used and how is it used? An Apex trigger is an Apex code that executes before or after the following type of operations. So this is a code that gets executed before or after the following operations. What all operations are we talking about? We are talking about insert operation. Insert means whenever a record is inserted into the system. Um, you can have a code executed before a new record is inserted or after a new record is inserted. Let's say before a record is inserted, you just want to do a quick check of some logic. So that's where it is going to be a trigger which can execute the Apex code before a new record is inserted, right? Update, before or after update, before or after delete, before or after undelete, not before and delete, after and delete, right? So that is what an Apex code is, right? So far whatever we have used for Apex, we have been doing that on pages, right? So when the page loads, then the Apex code gets executed. When someone clicks on a button, then the Apex code gets executed with the help of controllers, right? But now, what if I want to execute my Apex logic when a new record is being created, or when a record is being deleted, or when a record is being updated? Then we will use Apex trigger. So this is something which will work on these DML operations. All right, it can get executed. You have to define whether you want that code to get executed before or after that DML operation, right? Now there are types of Apex triggers that we need to understand. So there are two types of Apex triggers, all right. One is before triggers, and these before triggers are used to update or validate record values before they are saved to the database. All right. So what's a before trigger? Before trigger is something which is used for validating or updating some part of the record before the actual save happens. All right, actual database save happens. I mean, let's say when you're creating a record, before the record actually gets created, you just want to do a check on some values that okay fine, if this field is correct or not, or this value has been provided or not. That is where you can use the before trigger. All right, then comes the after trigger. After triggers are used to access field values that are set by the system and to effect changes in other records. All right. So after trigger is something which is, after trigger is a code block which gets executed after the record is inserted into the system, right? So once the record is actually inserted into the system, you can take the values from that record which got created and do some logic with that value. Got it? For example, if I have to give you a simple example for after trigger, let's say every time you just want to do a logic that when a lead is created, send an email. So that send an email part, that if you write that using Apex, that send an email part should be done after the lead is created, right? It should not be done before the lead is created. So after the lead is created, then the email should be sent, right? So that's the after trigger wala thing. If you want to do a validation check, let's say when a lead is being created, check whether the email ID is there. If email is not there, don't allow. This is before trigger. Got it? So some check or some code execution which happens before the record is actually created is before trigger. Any code which is getting executed after the record is created is the after trigger. Okay. And one small thing here, the record that fires the after trigger are read only. So the record which just got created, in that after trigger, you cannot make changes in that record. You can take the value from that record, you can make changes somewhere else, in some other record, you can do something else, but you cannot change the same record on an after trigger. right? So that is how it is. So if an after trigger got executed due to some record, that record becomes read only. You are not able to make changes into that record using the same after trigger. But which is quite logical also, right? So if I keep on making changes to the same record which is triggering the event, then what will be my standard reference point? Right. So two types of triggers. Before triggers, code block executed before a record is inserted. Inserted is what I'm talking about, but it can be an update or delete operation as well. And the same thing after trigger for insert, update, or delete operations. Right. Now let's understand the trigger syntax, how it is written. So it has a very simple syntax. To define a trigger, use the following syntax: the keyword trigger, then name of the trigger, on object name of the object on which you want to create the trigger. Let's say, I just told you lead, so you should say trigger t1 on lead. That's how it should be. And the trigger events in the bracket. Trigger event is when do you want that trigger to get fired. Then the code block. All right, then start the curly bracket, put your code block, your apex code logic, whatever you want to put, close this. That's it. Okay. So that's how simple it is. Writing a trigger is very, very simple. Just use this line and then write it. Code, complete code logic here, and that's it. All right. So let's understand the trigger events a little. What is that trigger event? The trigger events can be a comma separated list of one or more of the following events. So what all events are allowed? Before insert, before update, before delete, after insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. So these are the events, right? So I told you that you have an option of defining when do you want your trigger to get executed, before or after. And the DML operations are available for the triggers which are insert, update, and delete, right? So when do you want your trigger to get executed? Do you want that to get executed before insert, which means before a record is inserted in this object, all right, or before a record is updated, or before a record is deleted, all right? So that's what you'll have to put here in the trigger event. When do you want your trigger to get fired? You can have multiple trigger events also. It's not that you always have to have one trigger event. You can have multiple of them. If you have two trigger events, let's say you want the same code to get executed before a new record is inserted and before an existing record is updated, then you should separate them by comma. So trigger events can be a comma separated list. So just that, before insert, comma, before update. So if you want multiple events to be here, got it? Simple. Okay, so that's the syntax for the trigger. Now I want you to understand a few context variables, right? Which we are going to use in trigger, right? Let's forget about it. The context variable thing, let's not get into it. I'll tell you a little later on this. So if I have to create a trigger, let's say I want to create a trigger which should check whenever a new contact is being created. It should check if the contact email field is null or not. If it is null, it should throw an error. Should not allow the insert operation to happen. So you can write it this way: trigger t1, name of the trigger whatever you want, on contact before insert, put your code logic here, whatever comparison you want to do, you just put that here and end it, right? So now this code logic whatever you are putting here, that will only get executed when a new record is being inserted and before the record is actually inserted, all right? So this will work only for new records. In case you want to execute the same logic for update operation also before a new record is being updated, then you should just go ahead and say before update also. That's how it is. All right. So we have a list of 7 events you can execute. Basically, if I have to put it in very, very simple words, I have a list of those 7 events. What are the 7 events? These 7 events: before insert, update, delete, after insert, after update, after delete, after run delete. All right. Trigger is the code which can be executed on any of these events. All right. Out of these 7 events, you can execute it on any of the events. Right. Now, I just want you all to do a small thing. I told you what logic I want, right? I want to check if the record which I'm creating has an email ID or not, if the email for that is there or not. Okay. Can you try writing the logic here? Okay. So I'll just give you a small activity. From the triggers point of view, the syntax is almost there. I want you to formulate the logic. What logic we should write here? All right, and we will have 5 minutes for you to write this logic. Think of it, write it on your own. Let's see who can write the correct logic. Let's formulate the logic, right? So what Amish says is he will do something like this: if email not equal to null, something like this.
Then this email variable, I'll get the value like object of
Very
that,
good.
like
But what is this email? The moment you try to write this, it will ask you from where did you get email? What is email? Did we define email
email.
anywhere?
Suppose if it is getting, suppose if it's this email I'm checking in object, like accounts object, then I can make accounts dot email. Accounts in accounts, this email column is there.
Okay. Suppose why are you supposing? Because we have defined it contact already. Right. So let's
Oh,
pretend
sorry.
contact already.
Then contact dot email we can do.
Okay. Now it will ask you what is contact. So are you talking about the contact table object? Contact object can have 20,000 records.
Yes, yes,
Which contact are you talking about? It can have
okay,
multiple
okay.
contacts, right?
Yes, yes.
So try to connect the reference point. Logic is correct. The way you
Uh,
are going actually is correct, and I am pretty sure
uh-huh,
all everyone else is thinking on the same lines. But there's a small
uh-huh.
disconnect, right? I actually want you to spend some time, you guys, to spend some time thinking about it. Anyone who can suggest what do I do next? So his logic is absolutely correct. What he wants to do, okay. Just go and check whether email is null or not. But how do I give the reference to that email? Which email am I talking about? Japal, I think you wanted to say something. Manish wants to say
Yes, Chief.
something. Yeah, tell me.
So account, we are going to get the contact details from the account, right? So how about that account contact
Which account
to
are we going to
the,
get account contact details from?
sorry, Jit, I didn't get you.
Which account are we gonna get contact details from? Here I do not have an
The list
account
of,
mentioned.
oh, so
Okay.
only the contact will have to come, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've already
Jeet,
drilled down to contact, but I'm not able to, route it to the right contact. Yeah, yeah, someone was saying something. But
yeah, I mean, if I'll get the row ID, I mean, the kind of ID of that record.
wow, fantastic. So if you get the ID of record. Logical, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to somehow connect to that record, the one which we are dealing with. The problem with this logic
Yes.
can be, though we are actually heading in the right direction, but the small challenge with this is if I'm talking about before insert, the ID is not yet generated,
Okay.
correct?
Yes, yes.
So that's one small challenge. So the entire problem is that you
if
are not able to.
if that no, if that record is not generated, so we don't
Mhm.
have this ID. But then obviously we will have one email ID only. There will not be multiple records, I guess. Only one record will be coming, which we will try to insert in the object. That time only one record will have. So I don't think that
Oh,
we'll have to
Hmm.
search in the records.
Okay. So now, okay, okay. Pearl, you wanted to add something? I'll explain what actually Amish is trying to say, but before that, Pearl, you wanted to add something here?
uh, no, Jit, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Hello?
see, hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not able to hear your voice.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, now.
All right. Manish, you wanted to add something? I saw you, muting a couple of times and unmuting.
Actually, I was trying to connect email to contacts. Email, can we get the list of emails, like list of email and then email ID? We can get the emails in that way from the contacts list. Is it possible?
But that can be done, but that does not help me understand whether that particular record has an email or not. Let's go back to what Amish was saying.
So,
Please tell me. Yeah, good. Okay. Let's go back to what Amish was just saying, and he has got a point. So what he's saying is, he said, okay, can we connect it with the ID? The record is not yet into the system, so ID has not got generated. So I do not have an option of connecting it to some ID or taking some reference from the ID. Then the other logic that he told is that if the ID is not generated and the record is yet to be created, then there is only one record which is at the verge of getting created, on the verge of getting created. So it's a just one record which is knocking at the door. That okay, please let me in. So if somehow we can check that record, if I have a mechanism to check the record which is being inserted, then it becomes simpler for us, right? So basically what we want to do is, so long story cut short, what I need to do is, I just need to have some reference to the record in context. Record in context means the record which is being inserted or the one which is being updated. Okay. So if I have a mechanism to get a reference to the record in context, then my job becomes easier, right? So let me help you with this. Record in context is called trigger.new. Okay, here it is. Your job is done. So what you have to do is, so record in context, no matter it's being inserted into into the contact object or account object or lead object, it's always called trigger.new. All right, so that's a context variable. So there are some context variable. That is what I was talking about. All right, I'll not show you all the context variables at once, but there is this new. All right, so trigger.new, what I said, or new. Okay, so this trigger.new returns a list of new versions of the S object record. So this basically returns somehow what Manish was also trying to connect to, that okay fine, if I can have a list of email IDs and see if all the records have email IDs. So just that this new is a context variable which returns the all records which are being inserted, the ones which are in context. All right. So basically, what happens here is this trigger.new will return me the contacts which are getting created. All right. So what I have to do is I just have to do a simple stuff. I just have to write contact C equals trigger.new, because I told you record in context is trigger.new, and then just go and say if c dot email not equals null. So I've got the reference point which I needed. So not if contact.email, if c.email. That's it. Isn't that simple? Very simple, right? That's how we connect them. So there is a context variable existing for the record which is in context, which is being inserted. So you just define an S object, contact C, and assign the value of the context variable into this S object that you have defined, and then you check for this. If c.email not equals null, then do whatever you want. Here, okay. There's one small thing. This trigger.new, this is a list. Okay. This returns a list. We know what a list is, right? Multiple records. And this S object is a single S object, right? It's not a list. Contact C is not a list. So this assignment is not correct. Like, why trigger.new is a list? Why is it returning a list? Because I might be, performing a bulk data operation also. I might be trying to insert 100 records at a time. So trigger.new always returns a list of records, right? But comparison I need to do one by one. I cannot do a full comparison of the list. So for that I need to use this S object, single record, right? So I just have to make a small modification here. Instead of writing this, what I should write is, because I want to check the entire list, right? So use a for statement here for contact C within trigger.new. All right, check this. Got it? So now what it will do, it will run a for loop for the entire list of records here. So it will not just check one record. Earlier what I was trying to write, that would, one, the assignment was not correct because I was comparing one single record. I was assigning one single record to the entire list. So this assignment was not correct. Secondly, that would just, if I don't use a for loop, it will just run for the first record. I put it into a for loop and then it runs for the entire list of records. Got it? That's how it is.
Yeah.
As simple as this. Now, something else that you want to do? Microphones on mute, please. So now, something else that you want to do, you can write it here. The main thing that you wanted to do was getting the context variable in place. That's it. So let's do an example. Right. Let's do the same example for the contact. So if you want to create a trigger for contacts, you just need to go to customize contacts. Here it is. And then say triggers, right? And then say new trigger. Syntax part, it will automatically give you name. You can put contact trigger one, whatever you want. Events you have to put here. I want this to do before insert, right? Same thing for contact C, define an S object within trigger.new. Start the for loop, end the for loop within this. Just write whatever your logic is. If c.email not equals null, or if that's equals null, then it should throw error. If that is equals null, c dot add error. So this add error message is basically used for throwing an error. It will not let the record insert complete, it will throw an error. You can put the error message here. please insert an email ID, something else. Save this trigger. Done. That's how creating a simple, that's how simple creating a trigger is. All right. And you always have to make sure once you have created a trigger, it is in the active stage. If it's not active, you always have an option of, deactivate it. But if it's not active, it will not function. So sometimes if you don't want your trigger to function, or you are still, building up the trigger, don't make it active. But when you want your trigger to function, then you have to activate it. Creating it somewhere else, someone else's account. All right, let me just log in into your own account. So you just go to customize contacts. Let's do it one more time so that you can see it. Customize contact triggers. Click on new. Give it a certain name. For contact C in trigger.new c.add error, sorry, if c.email equals null, c.add error, email not mentioned. Right, it's active. If I try to create a contact now without an email ID, it should throw an error. Click on new. Okay, throws an error, right? Email not mentioned. Got it? How simple it is. So let's create a small trigger. I just want you to create a small trigger for, let's say, opportunity, and the logic should be if the opportunity amount is less than 10,000, then it should throw an error. Let's quickly do that. So just log in into your developer accounts and create a small trigger. I want if opportunity amount is less than 10,000, throw an error. Right. And for your reference, I can just share the trigger code that we just have written. There is the trigger code. You can take reference from here. Right. Just write it. You got like 2-3 minutes to complete it. The trigger that we have written now, this works absolutely okay for the insert thing, before insert, right? But if there is an existing contact and you update that contact and then you try to save it back, at that time also, don't you think this email should be checked, right? So if you want the same code to get executed at the time of an update operation also, then you should put one more event. Now this will work only when a new record is created. It would not work when a existing record is being updated, right? So for that, what we have to do is we just have to put one more event here, before update. Click save. That's how it is. So you have made it before insert and before update. Got it? Now the same code will get executed on both these events when the record is being inserted and the record is being updated, right? So even if someone is trying to update the record and has does not have the email ID while saving the updated version, then it will still throw an error. Got it? Okay. So let me take the same example and go to that opportunity trigger that we just created. For opportunity, we just did an example and our logic was for new opportunity, right? For a new opportunity, amount less than 10,000 should lead to an error, right? Now I just want to put a slightly different logic. I just want to put a logic where if it's a new opportunity and amount is less than 10,000, then it should throw error. But if it's an existing opportunity and amount is less than 20,000, then it should throw error. Got it? I can have different logic for new record and for existing records. So for an update operation, minimum amount I want to allow is 20,000. For an insert operation, minimum amount I want to allow is 10,000. Alright. So let's go ahead and modify the code there. Just go to customize, opportunities, triggers. The one that you have written, I will just modify that code to make a few changes here. So first of all, you will include the event before update. Alright, and then you have to write the code here. If period amount is less than 10,000 and if trigger dot is insert. Got it? So this trigger dot insert checks whether it's an insert operation or not. Trigger dot is insert. It will check whether it's an insert operation. So if it's an insert operation and amount is less than 10,000, then throw error. Else if trigger dot is update, same way, and amount less than 20,000, then p dot add error. Correct. Now for an insert operation, it's going to throw a different error message and it's going to check a different criteria. And for an update operation, it's going to check a different criteria and throw a different error message. P dot amount. That's it. Here, we are writing a trigger. So try to create a few simple examples around this. The way I've done, I would want you to create a few small examples. We'll do a slightly complex example when we meet tomorrow on trigger. So today it will be good if you can spend some time around this and create a few simple examples.